to be honest with you, I don't go into these games thinking like, man, we need to win these games to get the playoffs. Like, I hate losing. So when I step on the floor, I want to win. But I'll be 100% honest with you. Fighting for a play-in spot does not motivate me. Like, you know, we're in, what, 10th? Yeah, like, fighting for a playoff spot doesn't motivate me at all.
Of course, multiple-time champion. Max, what do you think Dre's really saying here?
He's saying that if there's no championship on the line, you know, it's hard for him to get motivated. He's saying that he knows that this team has no shot at the chip this year. This is not like baseball or football where just get in the dance, right? As long as you make it to the playoffs, who knows? It's kind of random. That's one of the things that makes baseball and football postseasons exciting. The best team doesn't always win. Basketball's different. The reason basketball has always been more barbershop talk than football or baseball, more like boxing, Stephen A., is because in the end, it's more determinative. It's not as probabilistic. You know, if you have the best players, maybe your team and one or two other teams are most likely to win. What's crazy about this season is how many teams seem to have a lot of the best players. So we're like, Nets, Lakers, if they're healthy, but there's a lot of real challengers. What Draymond's saying is we're not one of those teams, not without Klay Thompson. And he's right. You know, this Warriors team, minus Klay Thompson, is not a championship contender. So it's hard for a dude like Draymond Green to get excited. You know, there are some teams in the NBA like the Lakers. Kobe used to say, you know, if we don't win a championship, that's not a good season for us. They want to win the championship every year. Draymond's coming off a dynasty where they were the favorites or among them to win the championship every year for half a decade. They won several, and he was on maybe the greatest team ever, one of them, and he's saying, like, this ain't that. Talk to me next year.
Draymond Green is saying, we play 82 games normally, this year 72 regular season games. If you can't definitively be a playoff team over 72 games, what the hell are we playing for? We don't belong in the postseason. As you would say, we ain't ready. They're 23-25, okay? Having said all of that, I want to completely and totally applaud what he said in terms of his attitude. This is a 3-time champion, a man who's went to 5 straight NBA finals. Now, I know he's only averaging 6 points and 6 rebounds right now, shooting 26% from the field. And in the interest of fairness, just like I mentioned about Russell Westbrook, Draymond Green's another dude that needs to improve his 3-point shot, all right, which he knows because I've told him that constantly, okay, because I love the brother. I know he's a basketball savant. I know what he can do on the defensive end of the floor. I know he's a great point forward, et cetera, et cetera. But he's another dude that needs to improve his 3-point shot. The difference between him and others is he's got 3 chips, okay, and 5 trips to the NBA Finals. So it's a little bit different for him because that ain't his role. I'm just saying that the Golden State Warriors would be significantly more lethal even now if Draymond Green was a threat from the perimeter, specifically the 3-point range, because he gets open shots. And if he would have buried them, instead of hitting 26.8% of it, I think Golden State would have a better record than 23-25. But I think it's important to point out what he's saying because, again, not to sit up there and belabor the point that I was making about Russell Westbrook the other day, but it's worth reiterating. Russell Westbrook is a future Hall of Famer, the greatest athletic point guard we have ever seen in the history of basketball. And he has the numbers to support that he's going to be in the Basketball Hall of Fame when his career is over, okay? But when you're going up against Steph and you're going up against Dame in the Western Conference as you were before this season throughout your career, there's a reason that them brothers are what they are right now because the game and how it has evolved, if you are a point guard that has sniper-like tendencies, it can elevate you to elite status, the likes of which we're seeing from them now. Damian Lillard is a top 2 MVP. And let me tell you something. If James Harden takes too many days off, which he won't do, or if he scales back because Kevin Durant returns and Kyrie returns all the time, Damian Lillard's going to win league MVP because he's been sensational. We're talking Russell Westbrook, another triple-double last night. But they lost by 29. And all I'm saying is that when Draymond Green says stuff like that, When we see champions or those who aspire to be champions, that's the kind of language we want to hear. We don't want to hear championships. You know what? I'm a champion in life. We know he's a champion in life. We're talking purely about the game of basketball. In the game of basketball, that is not the case, even though your talents demand you should be. Because Russell Westbrook is so great, he should be a champion.
What you're saying about Draymond is 100% true about hitting threes. It's not coincidental that before KD ever got there, the year they won 73 games, Draymond was hitting 39% from three, right? And he hasn't been anywhere near
What about
that.
what he did in Game 7 that
He
they
would have been.
lost?
He would have been Series MVP. He would have been fine.
MVP.
Had it not been for LeBron,
That's right.
Draymond was going to be Finals MVP. He was
Absolutely.
great that year. But all year he's hitting 39% from three. That's not coincidental that was the year they won 73 games. So what you're saying, of course, is true. Even about Westbrook, if Westbrook shot 40% from three, he'd be in the conversation for the greatest player of the era instead of just in the top 10 greatest players of his era, right?
Absolutely.
So, of course, that's true. What I peel from Draymond, from what he's saying is simply, I'm a championship player, and more importantly, this is a championship franchise and team. We don't get excited if we don't think it can win a championship. They're waiting for Clay's
That's
return.
what you want to hear. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.